What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today we're restarting the daily NHL trade rumors for February 17th. Now, there's a lot to go through. I will be posting a video. Well, you might have already seen it, but I talked about Stone and Duchesne in another video, so that'll be uploaded at a different time. If you haven't seen it, it should be posted already. But today we're going to go through a ton of different trade rumors. I'll try not to keep you guys here for too long, but there are a lot of really good stuff in here, so we're going to get right to it here on Spectres Hockey. Of course, the link is always down below if you want to read it, but I always give my thoughts here in the video as well. So there's some stuff on the Boston Bruins here asking if maybe the Bruins should make a run at Artemi Panarin. So NBC Sports Joe Haggerty recently basically opened up about talking about maybe Columbus getting rid of Panarin and sending him over to the Bruins. He said David Pastrnak is out for quite a bit. We do know it's because of his thumb, and maybe that will increase their likeliness of going after a forward towards the NHL trade deadline. So Haggerty acknowledged that landing a guy like Panarin would be expensive, and maybe the risk is a little bit too high because he might just leave in free agency in July, because a lot of people are starting to link him to the Florida Panthers as well as Sergei Bobrovsky. But they're thinking it would take a guy like Jake DeBrusk and a first-round pick, and he wondered if the Blue Jackets might bite on Trent Frederick or Danton Heinen. So Spectre's note here said the Bruins paid a big price last season for Rick Nash, and it didn't pan out. So Don Sweeney, the GM, might not want to just go all in for a guy like Panarin unless the deal does make sense. If I was to give my opinion on it, I do think that the Bruins are in a really good spot to be able to go out there and acquire another top scoring player, because, you know, when Pastrnak comes back, of course, he's still going to be Pastrnak, a great scoring player. But the Bruins this season obviously aren't, I guess they are technically as good as last year, but I think there's a lot of people thinking that their scoring isn't as good as they want it to be, and I would agree there, but I think once the playoffs come around, the Bruins take another step regardless of who they acquire. So getting Panarin would be sick for them, but I would also suggest that they go after maybe a guy that would cost them less. A lot of people are suggesting Wayne Simmons. That's a guy that I thought would make sense, but we'll have to see what happens there. Latest on the Flames. So Sportsnet Nick Kypreos on Saturday's headline talked about the fact that the Calgary Flames might be looking at finding a veteran defenseman. That was talked about before. They've used 4 22-year-old or younger defensemen this season, but he also says that they're going after forwards. Now, I've mentioned this before, I think, in my team preview I did for them, talking about maybe a guy like Mark Stone, although there's updates on him that say he might be staying in Ottawa. Matt Zuccarello is a guy that I talked about. I think that would be a pretty decent fit. So they're thinking James Neal is going to be out longer than expected. I don't think it makes sense, regardless of if James Neal is out or not, because he hasn't really been the real James Neal that people know. So Spectre's note here says he's expecting the Flames to swing a deal for a rental before the deadline. They're among one of the best teams in the Western Conference. We do know that. And I think Brad Treliving, the GM, believes his club is a actual Stanley Cup contender. And if he's looking for a winger, Zuccarello would be more affordable than Stone. And that's exactly what I had said before. Zuccarello seems to be a pretty good fit. Less expensive, probably doesn't cost you as much when it comes to picks or prospects, or even roster players, depending on what the Rangers are looking for. I think Zuccarello would probably be the better fit. Stone, again, could cost you quite a lot, and I'm not really sure if that's a guy that's going to be available. Next is Jesse Puljujarvi, however you want to say it. Sportsnet said that, basically the Oilers might be willing to trade Jesse Puljujarvi, but Nick Kypreos considers that highly unlikely. He feels the 20-year-old's trade value to be at an all-time low, which, I mean, that doesn't take a rocket scientist. I'm pretty sure that his trade value isn't very good right now because he's been playing on the fourth line. He's been a healthy scratch. He's been sent up and down to Bakersfield. They expect that's where he'll end up and get into a more positive environment, but Elliot Friedman speculates Puljujarvi might want out of Edmonton, but Kypreos insists they won't give him away. Well, here's the thing. There was a lot of obvious things in this. First of all, of course they're not just going to give him away. Second, highly unlikely to trade him unless they get the right offer. Again, that happens for just about any fringe player that you think has good potential. But I think that Elliot Friedman's got it right here, because I read some quotes from his agent basically saying that, he wasn't happy, Puljujarvi that is, saying that he wasn't happy and that maybe the environment that he was in, the team he's on, isn't very good. So I actually do think that there's a chance that he could get moved. Does he need to be in the minors? Sure, but like, how much longer does this guy need to be in the minors? He was a high draft pick that's taken time in the minors multiple times. I think people are forgetting that Puljujarvi has actually been in the minors for quite a bit. I know they've called him up before, but for long stints, but he has been there for long stints as well. They should have kept him there from the beginning if they felt that he wasn't ready, and kept him there the whole time, and then just brought him up, last season, mid-season, or even just at the beginning of this season, or at the end of the season. I don't know, but I think the Oilers looked at their team and thought, okay, well, we've got McDavid, this guy's got potential, we need to just bring in our young guys right away, and it kind of hurt them. And they've been doing this to good young players for a long time. If they don't work out there, they trade them away. Some of them turn out to be superstars, some of them just continue to not play well. So we'll have to see what happens here. I think Puljujarvi's got to go. And again, I like Puljujarvi, I like the Oilers, but this situation isn't going to get any better. They already wasted their opportunity to keep him in the minors, and I might make a full video on this, so that's where I'll keep it, but I don't know. I think Puljujarvi's situation with the Oilers isn't very good. I just don't think that they're using him or bringing him up properly. The next here is from the New York Post saying, should the Penguins go after Zuccarello or will they? Larry Brooks still expects the Rangers will trade pending UFA forwards Kevin Hayes and Matt Zuccarello, which we've already talked about before the trade deadline. Of course, both players want longer-term deals, while management wants shorter-term because the Rangers are in that retooling stage. Brooks speculate the Pittsburgh Penguins could be in on Zuccarello, which most teams are, I guess, at this point, because he seems to be a lower cost. The Pens don't have a lot to give up, but Brooks feels the Rangers would covet their first-round pick. So it looks like maybe the Rangers could look at a first-round pick. The Spectre's note says, I also expect Hayes and Zuccarello will be moved before the deadline, of course. I doubt the Penguins will part with their first-rounder for Zuccarello. Consensus suggests he'll fetch at most a second-rounder, something that the Pens lack in this year's and next year's draft. So Zuccarello could be a pickup and an affordable pickup for a lot of teams. I'd be interested to see what teams go after him. If teams and GMs are saying to the Rangers, listen, like, this guy isn't fetching a first, then the Rangers are going to have to look at a second-round pick and a prospect, or maybe a higher prospect and a lower pick. I don't know, maybe a roster player. We'll have to see what happens. But I think that kind of opens up his market a little bit. And as a Leaf fan, that kind of makes me hesitate, like, should the Leafs, like, legitimately go all in and go after Zuccarello? That's crazy, but I won't talk about that. Anyway, Zuccarello, lots of rumors around him. We'll have to see what happens. Will the Islanders become buyers? That's the next part here. I believe so, and I don't think that anybody would be surprised there. Larry Brooks wouldn't be surprised if the New York Islanders are in on Artemi Panarin, Mark Stone, or Mike Hoffman. Those are some big names there. I would expect Hoffman and Artemi Panarin to be moved. Stone seems like maybe not, and of course that changes all the time. He also wondered if Isles GM Lou Lamoriello would be interested in a reunion with Ilya Kovalchuk. Don't think that would make sense for them. He also suggested defenseman Adam McQuaid, probably a cheaper option, who's been linked to the Tampa Bay Lightning, might be a good fit with the Isles. That, again, that's just kind of speculation at this point, but yeah, the Islanders are probably in on all those guys. A couple quick notes here at the end. Sportsnet, Elliot Friedman believes that the Dallas Stars could be among the suitors for Artemi Panarin and Matt Zuccarello. So again, two names that we've talked about this whole time. The Dallas Stars should be in on those guys, but I'm looking at their cap situation and it doesn't look that great. So I'm not sure how that would work out, but interesting nonetheless. And then the last thing here is Chris Johnston from Sportsnet, one of the best in the game. Detroit Red Wings forward Gustav Nyquist is drawing interest in the trade market. However, it's unclear if he's willing to waive his no-trade clause or where he'll waive it to. Again, another guy who's having a good season, who could be a piece that's brought into a good team towards the trade deadline. That's something that we'll have to get more information on coming up. But again, Gustav Nyquist is having a good year. I think that if he did waive his no-trade clause, a lot of teams would be interested, because I don't believe he would be worth as much as a lot of these bigger names on the market. So there you go, a lot to get through in this video. I can't believe I kept it to under like 15 minutes here, under probably 12 minutes. So very good. Lots of good stuff here. Spectres Hockey, of course, the link down below. I love talking about trade rumors, so if you like that stuff leading up to the deadline, and I'll even talk about stuff after the deadline and whatnot, make sure to click subscribe, click like if you like the video, click the notification bell as well so you're notified for all my videos and streams. Thank you guys so much for supporting. If you guys like music, check out my channel, Andrew Piluk. I react to videos on there. So, again, make sure to subscribe. I'd appreciate that. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.